Welcome back, and I'm back with a review, and this time it is going to be Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I just recently rewatched this last night, and let me tell you, this movie still holds up. Absolutely love this movie. Love the performance from Bob Hoskins and Christopher Lloyd, both as Eddie Valiant and Judge Doom. I love how you go to Bob Hoskins as Eddie Valiant. I mean, you can tell alcoholic, has a drinking issue, and you can tell he has some kind of distaste for tunes. And it goes back to what happened with his brother. We just never knew at the time which tune had killed him with a piano. So you can see why Eddie Valiant has a distaste for tunes, especially when he got riled up at the bar by an agitator. And as a result, so he's put on an assignment to take pictures of Roger Rabbit's wife, Jessica, playing patty cake with Mr. Acme, because Maroon Cartoon executive feels that Jessica Rabbit is the problem for Roger Rabbit and why he can't quite perform his lines, even though Roger Rabbit does everything he can to perform his lines very well. Just doesn't seem to come out right for him. So of course, the executive of the studio feels it's Jessica Rabbit. But we all know that ain't true. And as a result, this leads to Roger Rabbit getting really upset seeing the pictures. And of course, alcohol drinks seem to make him more full of energy and rage, basically. So yeah, absolutely watch out for him. Don't give him anything to drink. But as the movie goes on too, you definitely see where Roger Rabbit, despite that job from Eddie Valiant, feels it's not all Eddie Valiant's fault. Eddie Valiant was just put up to it by Mr. Maroon, R.K. Maroon Cartoon, I should say. And as a result, so Roger then goes for help to Eddie Valiant, and also does it to hide away from the Weasels, who were hired by Judge Doom to find Roger Rabbit for the dip. And as a result of that, Eddie Valiant does what he does, protects Roger Rabbit, helps him fight off the Weasels, and even helps Roger Rabbit avoid a death by dumping the dip. And you can see how Judge Doom backs away from it. So you knew something wasn't right. Like, he was just afraid of the dip just as much as Roger was. And let me tell you, one of my favorite characters in that movie is Benny the taxi cab. I mean, that voice is something. I mean, and he has the attitude too. He does not like anyone else being behind the wheel. He's the cab. And then, of course, Jessica Rabbit. I mean, beautiful singing voice. And you can tell she really loves Roger for who he is, Roger Rabbit for who he is. And we'll always love him for who he is. And what I love about this movie as well is all the character cameos from the Disney characters, Warner Brother characters, and even to Woody Woodpecker as well. So that is just awesome to see, especially at the very end when the will finally gets found and read. I mean, just to see them all there at once is awesome. I have to say one of my favorite cameos was when Eddie Valiant goes into the elevator and Droopy is the elevator operator and says his quotes, "Have a good day, sir." I mean, that's just classic Droopy. And then you also have Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny, the two biggest names of each of their respective companies, Warner Brothers and Disney. And of course, Bugs Bunny gives Eddie Valiant the spare, which ends up being a spare tire. And oh my goodness, ain't I a stinker? Yes. Very classic Bugs Bunny. Absolutely love it. And of course, back in the where Eddie Valiant meets Marvin Acme, My other favorite moment is Donald Duck versus Daffy Duck with the pianos, and they're just attacking each other. I mean, each moment, just cracks me up. Donald Duck was always one of my favorite Disney characters, and absolutely cracks me up every time. So yeah, Donald Duck, it was great to see him have his moment there. And who better to go up against than Daffy Duck? So yeah, overall, yeah. And I love the final showdown too with Eddie Valiant versus the Weasels and Judge Doom. I mean, Eddie Valiant does everything to make the Weasels laugh to death, and successfully does it. And then, of course, the final showdown with him and Judge Doom was great as well. Very cartoon-like, as you would expect. And it turns out, yep, Doom was the tune that killed Eddie Valiant's brother. Especially since when he confessed it, oof. I mean, that just scared Eddie Valiant big time. So yeah, very good. This is some of Robert Zemeckis' finest work in my book. I say besides the Back to the Future trilogy, I think this would be my next choice for films of Robert Zemeckis. So yeah, music score was great too. Great music overall. Great characters. So yeah, until next time, back again soon. Feel free to like and subscribe.